I want to talk a little bit about this J.P. Morgan Chase and Company stock price, the common stock price, and relationship to silver. Now, first off, I'm a guy that's been in accounting and finance a while, right? Now, I know, let me put it this way, I don't know every damn thing there is about everything, but I got a very good head on my shoulders for watching for angles that are BS angles coming out of left field or whatever, and how somebody's trying to screw people over, or various different things that can come up that are out of the blue. Basically, like, my function was protect assets in any possible way, and that means not just with the stupid numbers, But I want to point out about this J.P. Morgan Chase. There really is no relationship per se between J.P. Morgan's Chase's stock price and silver. I know that's an unpopular thing to say. Now, you notice sometimes when J.P. Morgan goes up, silver goes up. Well, you know what's going on? It's the general economy is heating up. Therefore, industrial metals prices will heat up also, along with everything else. It's like you can make a relationship between a lot of different things. Now, one place there is a very strong relationship on a stock price is the S&P 500. Now, this is the stock ticker SPY, which is basically the S&P 500. It follows the index, okay? With a zero missing off of it, okay? Basically follows the index, more or less like SLV more or less follows the silver spot price, more or less, correct? Now, there is a very strong relationship between the S&P 500 and oil. So, there are relationships between different things, but to just focus in on J.P. Morgan is totally wrong. And I'm not saying this from the bankster side. Believe me, I'm about the only one in my field that is heavily invested in physical metals. So, but I'm putting it to you on from another angle that, I'm going to tell you right now, people in a financial accounting field, 99% of them will not invest in metals for the most part. They're trained to think in dollars. They don't invest in metals. So I'm coming to you almost like a maverick out of this type of field. But there is no real relationship in a true sense between J.P. Morgan's common stock price and silver price. And when Max Keiser says this stuff, this guy is smart. Max Keiser is smart. He's an entertainer playing the crowd like a bunch of idiots. I don't like him, okay? And I'm giving you the straight scoop. The relationship between J.P. Morgan's stock price and silver price is more like most stocks will happen in general. Like if you could take the Dow and silver, almost could be a slight relationship too. Now there's some things are relationships, like gold and oil is a fairly good correlation, but the S&P 500 and oil is a very good correlation. Now why is that? Because industry goes up, the stock price goes up, demand for oil goes up, price of oil goes up. You can almost state there's a little bit of a correlation between the S&P 500 and silver. When did silver bottom out, right? You could almost state that a little bit. Depends on where you pick the area. Sometimes it's not true. But as far as J.P. Morgan picking that out, I don't think that's accurate at all. You'll notice all the metals are going down, platinum and palladium. Now, probably, I was thinking palladium was going to go originally below 500, platinum was going to go below 1400, and gold was going to go below 1500, and silver was going to go below 26. I don't know, maybe all that stuff's going to play out. Now, I have more cash to buy. I'm not buying now, and I'm not going to go on leverage even when I do buy. I'm going to go straight into physical funds. But I have enough cash to last a long time. Even if I had zero income coming in, I would be well over a year, so I don't give a shit. That's the kind of position I'm in. But I'm not going to use any of that right now until I really think there's a ridiculously low, like the ones I was thinking originally. Now, I'm not in on leverage except on oil, and oil's getting killed, but I'm not really thinking about it because I do think an attack on Iran is coming up, and it'll play out. It'll play out. Double leverage doesn't erode that much, and I won't get twice the percentage gain, but I'll get more than just putting in like it was an index on oil. I worked out the numbers a number of times on a double leverage. You can hold that fund a long time. If you even gain 10% on oil and you held double leverage for like almost a year, you're still going to break even. I can't see how oil is not going to go up to probably well over 110 or 115 to the barrel, so I'll be fine. So that's just the way I play the game. But I'm not using cash now to buy more metals until I see something ridiculously low, and maybe it will be coming up to play later on when things really start breaking down. Now, the Sprott Fund, I want to point out again, these guys were very shrewd as far as, let me just refresh this chart. Basically, it's almost back to ground zero again from when it started. I mean, it's at 1209. It started at 1049 when it first released back in October. Now, Sprott, he sold right up here at this peak, and he also sold right here at these peaks in the summer, and these guys were all out of it. Yet, I want to repeat this again. Lindsey Williams was stating to people that he had an elite friend that silver was going to be way the hell up at the end of the year, and yet, it was way the hell down. So, they have inside information. Now, I'm going to point that out as far as manipulation goes. All these people do have inside information. Now, JP Morgan probably does have I'm going to state this again because I know people probably get pissed off, but I'm going to give you the honest opinion that JP Morgan more than likely is manipulating silver. But I don't think they're the only ones. I think there's a lot of stuff going on in manipulating silver. But it's not just silver. It's things in general. But like I said before, they can't manipulate them that long. They could feather the market. They could steer it in a direction. But it's going against the current. The current tide of markets is going to actually bring it back. But if you can feather that market for a while and predict its moves, you're going to do extremely well. That's one of the reasons you actually want to be more in a physical coin and playing around with the instruments, because at one point in time, there's so much manipulation going on that I do not actually trust the brokerage accounts too much on the long term. And what I think is going to happen in the long term is the people like, if you take the middle class in this country that has the most wealth, it's usually age 65 and over, that is where people have the money. It's in retirement accounts, Fidelity and all this kind of garbage. At one point in time, I think they are the target. It's not going to be like a slow, steady decline with a lot of warning. They want them like happy, keep things going, and it's going to be a fast, sudden death type of move. That's what I think is going to come up. Now, just the reason I state this is because there definitely is a plan to kind of equalize the Western nations with the Eastern nations and put everything into a global financial system and a global government. Now, quite obviously this is happening, and I know they're playing games because they're getting worried too much about China getting too strong, but we're going to see the appreciation of the yuan this year. But I also think the 65 and over retired people that have, basically accumulated a good amount of wealth, but they're not like the ultra wealthy. They're like well-off middle class. They are going to be the target of, the predators on the top. And for the most part, they're not invested in gold and silver at all. Not at all. And you really can't tell them anything. What I think is going into these metals right now on a sly is the very top people. And not just gold and silver, but other types of financial vehicles that will be like stocks and different companies, like energy stocks and mining stocks and different things like that. But mainly in the commodities areas, you're going to see that's where most of the smart money is investing, which is not where Ben Bernanke actually is. Ben Bernanke is actually in fixed and variable annuities. I find that quite interesting because I think that guy probably is not that bright as far as some areas. He's extremely smart, but he may not. He might be making a really big mistake with his own finances. I'm probably quite surprised he's not into some other areas versus just the insurance. So, but eventually, this will play out. It's going to play out this year. It's not going to be a long wait. I mean, this is going to be a slow slide, maybe for the next month or whatever, till silver bottoms out. I know they got the margin rate increases coming up, possibly, but I'm not sure if that's going to come about. And you know what? Once the margin rate get increased, and the market, this is another important point. The market right now could possibly be pricing in what they think the prices of commodities will be because there is a margin rate increases coming up in less than 90 days. That very well could be. That makes a lot of sense. And that, to me, I think that is partly what's going on. But once margin rate increases happen and they go up 35% in most commodities, and depending on who's doing who the broker is. Now, once that happens, what's going to happen when things start taking off? I mean, really. I mean, the margin's going to be very high to speculate as it is. In other words, they're getting up to the point where they really can't raise them anymore. Or why the hell would you even bother with that garbage if you could just buy the damn underlying commodity? Why buy it on margin? I mean, if you got to put up so much money, then what happens to the spot price in the market? Especially maybe when the physical commodity isn't there. That's when you might see these rumors about, physical silver and all this type of stuff, and the metal's not there. Maybe that'll play out because, if they raise the margins too high, I mean, who the hell's going to buy in margin? It's stupid, right? It would be very stupid to do so. Why would you do that? Why not just get the metal, or why not get in the case of corn, you probably want to buy it on margin because you don't have a silo, but you know what I'm talking about. Why would you do that with the metals? It wouldn't make any sense. So some of this stuff is going to play out. Now, also, like I stated, Sprott, this fund is probably getting to be a really... I bought it below 13. Now it's getting killed. It's going to be probably below 12. And I'm going to wait till it goes back down to 10 if it does. But right now, the premium on Sprott is below 5%. It's like 4 point something percent. So it's a fairly good buy. But now I'm thinking, I got nervous because I am under the caliber or thinking that your money needs to be protected in physical metals. And I don't know if it was, when it flattened out there about a week or so ago, I didn't know if that was the bottom. Now, it depends on where you pick Fibonacci points. There was actually a Fibonacci point between the 26 and the 37 high, the 26 low back in December and the 37 high. And I think it was a little bit below 31. That was one of my bases of my decision. But if you look at the overall from when it took off from 2008 and this whole large correction period, another fib point could be below 26. So I'm going to wait, and I got cash to buy more stuff, but I'm not buying it now, not at all. So because I got a very good reserve that can last a very, very, very long time. I mean, silver would have to, I don't know, probably last a couple of years or more. So. And, that's considered, and actually I got income coming in, so I don't give a shit too much anyway. That's not considering that. But as far as, the JP Morgan stock price conspiracy talk, just forget about it. Don't get focused in on it. Yes, markets are manipulated. They're feathered. That's the way I look at it. You can kind of cause it like you're taking the edge of the market, causing other people to see something and make them react. But that's more short term. And I'm sure players like JP Morgan, Goldman Sachs, and all the big names, HSBC, are doing that type of thing. But don't get too focused in on it. Don't get too focused in on it. And this whole big JP Morgan is manipulating price of silver, and like they're the main focus. That's more or less a circus charade put out by Max Keiser. It's not as true as people think. It's like I think there's a lot of manipulation going on, but J.P. Morgan's definitely not the only player. He's definitely not. And I want to actually add this at the end. I'm going to always add this. The actual real route to true wealth in this country is to get industrial hemp going in this country, which will provide more products than crude oil will, very cheaply, renewable, no problem with pollution, greenhouse gases, or any other snake oil garbage they put out at us. And also medicinal marijuana oil, which can cure many, many, many things, including cancer, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, or whatever you have out there, leukemia. And, that would actually take, they talk about how much gets taken out of the economy. Well, if you have a lot more healthy people in the economy that aren't sick, and you have a cheaper way to provide energy for the economy, guess what? The economy rolls along a hell of a lot better. But yes, there is an entrenched conspiracy against that plant because they can't patent it and they can't own it. As a matter of fact, any individual can grow this stuff anywhere. And people, if they wanted to, I'm getting on with this because I think this is such an important point, and I'm going to add it on the end of this. If people wanted to, they could take and grow marijuana and make the oil out of it on an individual basis, and there could be a huge cottage industry out there that people could sell medicinal marijuana oil. In other words, you talk about the economy being bad. Well, people could actually make this stuff themselves and sell it. And you know what they'll be putting out of business? Maybe a lot of doctors. But you know what doctors need to do then? If they're so smart, they need to start focusing in on extending life of people to, hundreds of years and actually being alert, bright, and young at the whole time. They always got plenty of business during that area. But the conspiracies run deep and wide in many areas, and basically what it is people, you get a type of person that knows how to act in front of the common masses that they're philanthropists, yet they run a entrenched racket against everybody. So, those are the type of people you need to fight. Now, J.P. Morgan, actually you could probably find... You know what? If I talk to Jamie Dimon in person, you know what? There's a lot of stuff I can do. You wouldn't believe it. This kid knows how to wheel and deal. But you know what? I usually know how to deal with these kind of bullshit very well. But really where I got my feet set is in with the people themselves. So, I understand the cutthroat mentality of the elite. But... they also have to put it to them that they're basically cutting their own throat when they do a lot of things. And when you get right down into them, a lot of them aren't as bad as you think. That I could tell you right now, if you get right down into them. So there's a lot of things going on. Don't get involved too much in this silver J.P. Morgan conspiracy garbage, because that is basically a sideshow. Markets are moved and feathered and they're rigged a little bit, but the overall market is like a big underlying current, and they can only feather it so long. So just hold on with the metals. Most people aren't into metals, and actually that's going to be the biggest winner going.